Thanks for watching Arizona's Family. Watch us live wherever you are. Our mobile and streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, and Android TV. Subscribe on YouTube for live breaking news and video on demand.
Coming up on 7 o'clock on your Friday in today's Health Watch, it can take years for women with endometriosis to get diagnosed because so little is known about the condition.
Yeah, the condition impacts about 1 in 10 women, but now there is hope that new research could lead to a non-invasive way to confirm it. Currently, laparoscopic surgery is the only way to diagnose it. But that could soon change. The Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research is conducting a clinical trial with more than 3,000 women right now. The goal is to develop a non-invasive way to diagnose the condition.
There are tissues that reflect the lining of the uterus, which we have found to be different in patients who are unaffected with endometriosis versus patients with endometriosis. And we can collect menstrual blood samples from patients who are symptomatic and look for those differences.
Researchers hope the study will also lead to the development of new treatments for endometriosis.
All right, if your plan this Labor Day weekend is to maybe catch up on some sleep, you're going to get some Z's tests?
Gonna try.
Okay, well, you might be lowering your risk of heart disease. A study by the European Society of Cardiology found that people who don't get enough sleep during the week but get more sleep on weekends had a 19% lower chance of heart disease. Doctors say you should get at least 7 hours of sleep every night, something I don't think we know, Tess.
No, I don't think anyone on this morning shift knows.
7 hours.
How much do you average?
5 to 6,
5,
probably.
yeah. That's probably the norm for a morning shift.
All right, we're coming up at 7 o'clock. Still much more to come on Good Morning Arizona. It is such a crazy busy morning with breaking news. And by the way, if you're headed out the door, you can always stream us on our free AZ Family mobile news app.
Yeah, if you're watching with us on CBS 5, CBS Mornings is next. And here on 3 TV, we are staying local with our 7 o'clock hours starting right now.
Good Morning Arizona starts with breaking news.
Well, we just said it here at 7 o'clock, breaking news, and what's been a very busy morning for law enforcement and fire crews all around the valley.
We have live team coverage for you this morning. So Gibby is live in Mesa, where someone was taken to the hospital after a fire raged through an apartment. Meanwhile, in El Mirage, we have a crew at a fire that badly damaged a home.
But first, a deadly crash that has shut down part of I-10. Gina has a look at how to get around the closure, which is out of Dysart. But let's begin with Kylie. She's at the scene near Dysart with what we know happened in this 3-vehicle crash.
Good morning. This was a fiery crash from overnight, and this closure has been in place for 7 hours. Just take a look behind me. You can see we are on the westbound side of the I-10 right by Dysart. The evidence markers, I started to count and then I lost track because there are so many, at least 100, I would say, evidence markers out there. We've seen investigators here on scene. They're taking pictures, and we're going to show you kind of how this all played out. So you see the semi-truck. Mike, can you show the semi? So the semi-truck was involved. We also know that a Corvette was involved as well as a Camry. And you're taking a look at some aerial footage of this from our AZ Family drone. So troopers think that the Corvette was speeding and caused the crash. The semi and the Corvette both catching on fire. And then at one point, the semi hit the cement barrier. And that is why you had the eastbound closure for a period of time, because crews were fixing that barrier in between the westbound and the eastbound lanes. So sadly, we've learned that the semi-truck driver died on the scene. And then, like I mentioned, there was a Corvette driver and a Camry driver. Both of those drivers are in the hospital. But here's where the story takes an interesting turn. We do believe that impairment is a factor. That's all according to DPS. DPS tells us that the Corvette driver, and again, the Corvette was the one that was speeding and they believe caused the crash. The driver at one point takes off. He runs off. and he is caught nearby, but not on the freeway. Apparently, when he is caught, he is not wearing any clothes. He is naked when he is caught by Goodyear police. He is at the hospital now. So again, one person dead, 2 people are at the hospital, and one of the people that's at the hospital was detained and will likely go to jail once they are treated at the hospital. Coming back out here live, I want to show you this shot. Obviously, the sun is kind of blinding us, but this is a look at the backup. So everybody westbound, if you're watching, give me just a few seconds to talk you through this. If you're driving to California today, because it's a Labor Day weekend, if you work out in this area, you have to exit the freeway at Dysart. And as you can see, it is like a parking lot. I mean, we're just seeing cars move at a snail's pace. Gina, I know you're standing by with a look around this. Just from our vantage point, we can see Van Buren from here. Van Buren, which is just south of the freeway, that's at a standstill as well. So this is certainly going to cause a huge traffic implication for so many people out there going to work, maybe heading on a last summer hurrah vacation, because we do think that this will be closed for probably at least a couple of more hours. We're going on 7 hours so far.
That's great information, Kylie. Thank you so much. And that's exactly why we are providing you some team coverage. You know, no good deed goes unpunished. Maybe you were going to try to get an early start for your Labor Day holiday heading to California. This is what you're dealing with. Let me get out of the way as we continue to provide team coverage. We have got all kinds of crews covering this for you. And so from the air, from our Arizona's Family News Chopper, you can see the scene. And this is just an awful scene. You know, Tess and Scott and I were talking. This is probably one of the worst we've seen in some time, where a fire completely ravages a semi to the point where it's almost unrecognizable. Let's go ahead and from there take you to the ADOT camera. So just a short while ago, about an hour ago, they reopened the eastbound side. So if you're heading inbound from the West Valley, you're good to go. We just have a lot of slowing here in the area because HOV lane left lanes are still blocked off because the wall here is completely damaged. Westbound side, it's completely shut down. Let's go ahead and go to the maps. The rest of our Valley freeways, by the way, are quiet. If you do need to head outbound, you know, Kylie was saying that Van Buren was already clogged up. I'm sure McDowell is too. If you want to go further south, you can try Buckeye, but I think you're going to see a lot of congestion there. To the north, you cannot use Thomas. It won't go all the way through. So Indian School, Camelback. After Camelback, you run into the runway here at Luke Air Force Base. Can I highly recommend, even if it's a little out of your way, use Northern Parkway, because parts of Northern, they're just that, it's a parkway. So parts of it set up like a freeway and you'll move along just a little bit quicker. If you're heading inbound from the West Valley, we have a really light drive time, likely because it's a Friday before a holiday weekend. Let me make one more suggestion. If you're watching us from the East Valley especially, if you're heading to San Diego, let's just avoid the West Valley altogether. Drop down the I-10 to Casa Grande, cut across on the I-8. That'll get you to Gila Bend, eventually to Yuma, and you'll be on your way to San Diego from there.
All right, Gina, thank you for that. We've got more breaking news. This out of the East Valley, where Mesa fire crews are on scene of a fire at an apartment complex.
It happened near Main Street in Stapley. Gibby is there live right now. Gibby, we're also hearing now that someone was taken to the hospital.
Yeah, at least one person taken to the hospital. They tell us non-life-threatening injuries, and it all happened right here at the Buenas Apartments on North Harris here in Mesa. Now, when fire first got the call out here, they arrived to this 2-story apartment complex and found 2 people outside of that apartment right there. They quickly started to work on them and the fire. They were quickly able to get the fire under control right away, but they found the 2. One was treated, stabilized, and taken by ambulance. The second person, they believe, had smoke inhalation, but that person did not get taken to the hospital. Now Mesa Fire says that it's up to PD. Now they're going to take over this investigation. The cause of this fire is still unknown, guys, but interesting because of the fact that Mesa PD now has to take over this investigation as far as if there were anything criminal that had to do with the fire itself or the start of the fire. So we've reached out to Mesa PD. They say right now they are investigating, but that's all the information they gave us.
All right, an interesting turn of events there for sure. Gibby, thank you. We'll check in with you throughout the morning. Let's take you out now far west to El Mirage, where crews are on the scene of a fire that ripped through a home. This is a live look right now. Our crews there on the scene near Cactus and Dysart. You can see it looks like they've put out the flames and now assessing the damage. Of course, they always go through this to make sure there are no more hot spots inside. We don't have a lot of details about this just yet, But a little while ago, our AZ Family News chopper was overhead taking a look at the damage. You can see the big hole there in the roof. No word yet if anyone was inside when this fire broke out, if anybody was able to escape, if anybody was hurt. As soon as we get more information, as we have reached out to El Mirage Fire Department, we'll of course update you.
And then in Phoenix, police are investigating the deaths of 2 people at a gas station, the Circle K in Phoenix. Here's a live look at the scene near 19th Avenue and Van Buren. Our photographer on scene says that there were 2 bodies and firearms on the ground in the parking lot, and they saw police officers put a man in handcuffs. We do have a crew on scene. David is out there gathering the latest information, so we'll look for a live report coming up at 7:30.
And we're also working to get more information for you on this police situation near 12th Street and Bethany Home Road. Details are limited, but we do know one person was taken to the hospital from this scene in Phoenix, and it happened around midnight. So to stay up to date on all these breaking news stories we're following this morning, and there are a lot of them. It's been a very deadly and violent night across our valley. Be sure to download our free AZ Family News app, and as soon as we learn more, we'll send a push alert straight to your phone.
And on top of all this going on, it's a holiday weekend. We've got Labor Day on Monday, and you know, it'd be nice to end the summer time with some cool temperatures, but not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be really
Unless
nice.
you go to the
You
high
head
country.
to another area.
Go to the high country.
It's true. If you want some rain and some cooler temperatures,
That's where we need to go.
That's where you need to go. Although I got a few sprinkles for you this morning.
Oh, nice.
Okay. How about that? Beautiful view of the superstitions. Gosh, isn't that so pretty with the sun rays there poking through the clouds out there in the East Valley? Look at our radar right now. We're starting to see a little bit of green. So right out here where the 60 meets the 202, that's East Mesa. Out toward Apache Junction, we've got a little bit of light rain right now coming down on the 60. The North Loop here, the Red Mountain 202 area, seeing a little bit of that rain as well. And we got a little blip of green showing up on the radar there, right near the mountains there in Scottsdale. And so what we're going to look for here is some morning sprinkles. And I don't think we're going to see a whole lot more than that, but that's a nice treat. At least it's still going to be hot later today, and that's not going to be enough rain to cool us off. We have 80s mainly across town, 77 in Fountain Hills and some upper 70s in spots like Anthem and Carefree, but 82 in Scottsdale and Chandler, 80 right now in Ahwatukee, 81 in Glendale, and 80 in Sun City. It's 87 right now in downtown Phoenix. It's going to be a hot Friday. We're headed for 110 degrees, sunshine, hot temperatures today. Storms unlikely for this afternoon and this evening in the valley. We'll talk about your high country forecast, though, for everybody getting out of town, coming up in your full first alert forecast.
All right, April, thank you. Mortgage rates are at the lowest they've been in over a year. What does that mean for the housing market? We've got an expert joining us to talk about the rates and where they are headed.